Recording now? We can edit it out?
No recording now.
What's next? I missed all that. I was attempting to iron.
We have craft foam pommels with Gaisengun.
Yeah, I'll make a post on the event side real quick.
Okay.
I guess I should start my Covina thing.
Get to work.
Yeah, I need to.
Perfect. And screen sharing, how do I do that?
I'll give permission so everyone can share.
Perfect.
Okay, you should be able to right now.
Screen share, perfect. All right. Just have that on the ready.
Okay, share screen real fast before we start so I can just make sure it shows up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, 1 second. I'm seeing if it shows up on the Zoom because I know it's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's perfect. We're good.
And it shows up on Facebook?
It shows up on Facebook.
Okay. And do you only see the presentation? Do you see the tabs up top?
I see the tabs on top and I see you on the very right-hand corner. Just
Okay. Let me close out of those and
No porn.
maximize the window. Oh, I don't want that. Do you see my desktop or do you only see the presentation?
Only the presentation from here.
Good, good, okay.
All right, let's get started, bud.
All right, give me just another moment. Because I have notes on my slides, so I have a presentation mode so I can see my notes as well. All righty. I want that be large. It's weird. All right. Oh, I guess I won't do it that way. Okay. So let's begin then. I'm ready. Okay. Hello. I am Daimyo, or Lord Gaisengun, from a little park in South Carolina called Dragonhold. You can call me Guy for short. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make pommels using craft foam. This tutorial is targeted towards beginners and those looking to try an alternate method to what they've been using. In the next 15 to 30 minutes, we will discuss what is a pommel, the pros and cons of the craft foam method, and then we'll move on to basic construction and finally end with any Q&A. So, what is a pommel? The rules of play describe a pommel as being the padded portion of a weapon at the end of the handle, not intended for striking. The end of the pommel must have at least a 2-inch cross section perpendicular to the handle and must be padded. And the rules for padded say that this refers to the portion of the weapon that is designed to limit injuries from incidental contact with part of the weapon and not intended for striking. these portions of weapons must have at least ½ inch of foam over the weapon's core. And that's the only thing we're concerned about with the pommel, is make sure that you have that minimum of ½ inch foam at the very tip of the handle. So let's look at what the pros and cons are. And these are going to be compared to the standard pipe installation or pool noodle method. And a lot of these are just going to be my personal opinion on the matter. And pros, it just looks better. I really appreciate the look. You can get away with having a very, very small pommel, and just overall profile, I just think that looks better. I mean, historically, you look at weapons, they're not going to be a big pommel at the end unless it's meant for striking, which we're not doing here. As well as with your pipe installation, your pool noodle, those are going to be like 2.5 inches wide. You can, trim them down to 2 inches, but if you're using the scrap from what you're using from your blade, it's going to be big. And also, when it comes to the method of torque wrapping it onto your handle, it's going to create that tapered bell shape, which personally, I don't really like it. This method makes it all seem like one cohesive unit. And in terms of being more secure compared to your pipe installation method, when you're with the adhesive craft foam, it's already adhered to the handle. Whereas the pool noodle pipe installation, you have to torque wrap it, glue, do a variety of techniques to get it onto the handle. This is very beginner friendly. I instructed a class one time, and everyone ended up looking the handle, the pommel ended up looking exactly the same. We did like 25 of them. So it's super easy to do. And like I said, it's easy to meet the requirements because you just build it up. It's pretty
I have a quick question.
self-explanatory.
So how did you set it up with everyone else there? Did you create like an assembly line, or was it just like one person, they're all building it concurrently?
We built 25 loaner weapons, and we didn't do really so much as it was always like grabbing like everybody. We're going to work on hand. We're going to do the pommels first, and then we're going to do the core. We're going to do the torque wrapping the blade onto the core. It went really well. It took a couple hours. Well, maybe it took like 2 or 3, but it was a really good experience. I actually still have all of them behind me. Working on getting all the weapon covers on, because the covers take the longest. I prefer using cloth covers over using, your pantyhose or socks. Now, as for cons, it is an extra expense. You have to go out and purchase the craft foam. Although it's cheap, you may not just have spare adhesive craft foam lying around, and it is slightly more time consuming. I haven't compared it directly to the standard method, but after a while, it may be just as fast. Your longest time is going to make sure you're measuring, because your measurements have to be pretty on point if you want to look nice.
Where do you buy your craft foam from?
Craft foam can be bought from Amazon, Walmart, your local big retailers. The brand I'm using I have it on the next slide under supplies, but it's pretty easy to find. Typically, when you see it, they'll have small sheets, or they'll have like a nice big, 9 by 11 sheets, and that's what we'll be using here. It only takes one single sheet of craft foam to make a pommel. Sometimes if you're going for the most minimum requirements, you can only use half a sheet. All right, and with that, let's go to the supplies we'll be needing here. And actually, I'm going to take this off stop the screen share now, and we'll go ahead and go to live video and stop share. Perfect. All right, so I'll switch to my webcam here. All right, so here are our supplies. We have our craft foam. We have our handle. This is your basic PVC pipe that we're going to be using. Of course, you can also use your golf club, whatever core you typically use, your kite spar or things of that nature. We have our strapping tape. I really like the 3/4 inch strapping tape that you get from Ace Hardware. We have our hockey tape, 1-inch hockey tape. This is the hockey cloth tape. This is the Renfrew brand. Buy this from Amazon. Your cutting utensil for the foam, I prefer using a rotary cutter. Blade or scissors for your cutting your tape. And you can use a ruler, or I like to use the calipers for getting those exact measurements. All right, so first step is going to be making the plug for your handle. That's going to be the 1/2 inch that comes off, and then we're going to start building around that. Now, your handle, if you have a handle that is hollow, like this, for instance, and you're not going to put in a lag bolt or carriage bolt to add that counterweight, we're going to want to cover this so that your plug does not sink down. And if there's any questions, go ahead and read them out to me.
What kind of cores do you use when you do this?
For cores, I use the graphite golf clubs from Goodwill. I found that if you buy a lot of the golf clubs in bulk, because they're typically like $2 a piece, no matter where you go. If you buy a whole bunch of them, they'll typically give you a discount, like a really, really good discount. If you're just making a bunch of loaner swords, you can do the PVC. So here I'm just using strapping tape, 2 pieces, and then a smaller piece to wrap around. And that makes it nice and tight, so our plug won't fall in there. All right, so for our plug, it has to be a minimum of 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. And you want to make it just a little bit bigger than the 1/2 inch to compensate for compression when you tape it down. And don't go out of control. It doesn't have to be that much of a difference, because there is compression, but there really isn't that much. You'd be surprised. All right, so I'm going to measure this out.
Nice trick with the shower suction cup thing.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
That
Found
is
that
really
on a video on YouTube. A gentleman who does a lot of sewing tutorials, and I saw that in the background. I'm like, that is brilliant. All right, so there we go. That's all you need.
just giving you a time check. You got 20 minutes.
Perfect. All right, so we're essentially just gonna take off the adhesive backing, and we're going to roll this up. And I think this, the 9 inches that we hear that we're rolling up is actually going to come up to exactly the same width of what our PVC core is, handle is. So it ends up being perfect. So there's our little plug. There's our handle. And you'll see comes out being pretty much the exact same width. It might be a little bit bigger, by like 1 millimeter, if that, and that's fine. That's perfect, because we're gonna just do a single piece of tape just to tape it down for the next step. Always cut away from you and cut up. And my scissors. Just cutting a small strip. And then we're just going to take this and tape it down. All right. And with that out of the way, we're going to put that aside. And now we're going to cut our padding that we'll use for the actual pommel itself. So here you can go a couple different ways. You can either make this really small so that it barely attaches to your core, and that'll make it just look smaller and nicer. Or if you're a person who likes to, your technique is pommel fighting, so your grip is on the pommel. Pommel fighting, those who they fight like this as opposed to a whole sword like that, they get that little extra length. You'll use more foam, so you'll cover more of the core, and it's secure. It's a really good way.
Looks really nice.
Yes, I suppose I should have had an example the whole entire time. And that one's I just threw together. All right, so for this, I'm going to go with 1 inch plus however large your plug is. So you're going to have an inch coming into the handle. So the total length is going to be, this is 3/4 of an inch, and then 1 inch. So you're just going to measure 1 3/4. And I'm going to go ahead and cut a total of 3 pieces. So this will take me just a moment. So if you have any questions, let me know. 1.
How easy is it to do this with craft foam that doesn't already have the adhesive?
I wouldn't even bother, because you'll have to roll the craft foam on itself. And I mean, if you can somehow do that, then by all means go ahead. But the adhesiveness really makes it work for itself.
I was thinking just lots of DAP, which also provides a bit of counterweight.
I would advise against that. DAP is amazing, but it also melts what you're working with. It will deform it. And this is only 2 millimeters. DAP is just, it's not going to turn out pretty. It's not going to be easy. And like I said, a 6-pack is under $4.
What about like 3M spray adhesive?
That might be worth it. Wear gloves, be well ventilated. It's
Right.
going to be, it'd be really sticky. It'd make a mess. I
Right.
would advise against it. Okay, so now we're going to take off our first layer, grab our handle, and you're just going to come up to where the end of your plug is, and you're just going to wrap around. And you want to make sure you keep it nice and level up top. Because the flatter it is, the better it is. The more look nice. And this time you just want to take your slow, just use a little bit of pressure. You're not, torque wrapping this on. And there's 1. See, this is, a little more time consuming, but I mean, it really isn't that bad. It's fun. Time check, please.
13 minutes.
All right. 2.
Hey, Guy, you can go over. I'm not going to be using Zoom for mine, so don't worry about the time, really.
Okay. This also helps me too, because this is the very first class I've taught online before.
You're doing a great job, man.
All right.
Fantastic job.
So that's 3 pieces. Let's go ahead and take a look at how wide that is. My good old weapon checker here. Nice little pair of calipers. All right, so we are at 1.86, so not quite. So let's use one more piece, but we will not have to use this whole entire piece. Rotary cutters are amazing. And you do want to get as close to 2 inches as you can. And I'll show you why when we start with the cloth tape. All right, we're going to cut it right there because we were already pretty close. And also, this step as well, you can, because craft foam is so thin, you can think of it as like a 3D printer where you can use thinner and thicker slices going across it to make yourself a design. I've experimented with that, but that is definitely a possibility. All right, let's take a look at this now. And 2.03, perfect. Let's go with that. Like I said, there will be compression, but it's gonna be very, very minimal. That will probably end up being 2.01 or 2.2. All right, so our next step is to tape this bad boy. So we're gonna take our hockey tape and we're gonna cut, let's see, you're gonna make a X and plus pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, I believe. And for these, I'm just gonna make them, I've done this enough times. I'm gonna do this. This is gonna be 9 inches long. Do this in my lap real quick. It's easier just to set it in your lap. And you wanna get it just about perfect. Make sure it's nice and straight. And that's how it's gonna pretty much look. You're gonna have it come in, you're gonna have a gap here. And here's something else I want to mention as well. This is a good opportunity before you tape it down to add some counterweight. One method of counterweighting was putting the lag bolt, carriage bolt in here. The method that I prefer, and I'll use this on my longs, is using magnetic tape. Magnetic tape is heavy, and this adds good counterbalance. What you can do is use a tape and layer it underneath your pommel, and you can make it pretty much use as much as you want, make it even with a pommel, and you can't even tell that there's a counterweight there. Really, really good tech. I really enjoy it. So we're gonna cut a few more pieces. And here, after I get this down, I'll show you why it's important to get it as close to 2 inches across as you can. Okay, so you'll see here, after we have the plus, we're gonna make the X. And with this size tape, the bigger your pommel is, the more difficult it's gonna be to cover this open space when you go with across the other direction. So that's why we want to get it down to as close to 2 inches as we can. And if you are making bigger pommels, they do make the hockey cloth tape and 1.5 with increments. So you can use that instead. So with that done, 2 more pieces. And the great thing of the hockey tape too is that they do come in a variety of colors and patterns. So if you have a favorite hockey team, there's a good chance that you can have a pommel with their logo and colors on it. I believe on the actual like NHL website itself, they have like they currently have like breast care awareness tape theme. So they have like a really pretty pink or teal color. And see, we covered it up so there was no craft foam showing underneath it. And our last piece. All right, and that's what you're gonna get. Is gonna be cone shaped coming off, because even though the craft foam is directly adhered to the handle, we still want to make sure that it's not gonna come off. So there is a little bit of torque wrapping involved, and I promise you it's not much. It's not near as bad as torque wrapping a blade to your handle, because I know that can hurt, especially after you do like 25 in a row. It can be really painful if you're mass producing them. This won't be near as bad. I'm gonna set that down. Get just a nice long strip of tape. Start at your base and just start to torque wrap it up. Let's go ahead and use all of it. Doesn't have to be pretty right now. I'll show you how to do it. And there you go. That is a pommel. And I'm gonna put some finishing touches on here for you guys. Got a little bit of time. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Just use a little bit of ink. And
That is awesome. I would have never thought of that.
this is our Dragonhold crest. So this is my signature whenever I make my pommels. And that is it. Any final questions? Thank
No,
you.
I learned a lot. That's amazing. Tell me
Yeah,
more.
so,
about the tape.
go ahead.
You buy it off of Amazon, right?
Which part?
The hockey tape.
Yeah, hockey tape, or I think there's an actual, the Renfrew website. You can look up all their tape and where they're being sold at.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys so much. I hope there are people here who learned how to do this. I'm no expert by any means. I'm a level 2 owl. This tech that I learned and taught myself earned me that second owl, because I was one of those people who just hate using the pool noodle or pipe insulation just because they always turn out so ugly. They just didn't last as long. I could never get it on the handle and it just didn't last long. These are secure. I mean, I'm using all my might right now. It's not budging. I can't. No. Same with turning it, twisting it. It's not going. This will take a lot of abuse. So yeah, go ahead and give it a try yourself. I linked, if you scroll up, if you just joined, I did link, I have a PowerPoint for how to do this. If you look at the event page that I created, the link to that Google Doc is there as well. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I'm gonna end the
Yeah,
live.
I was just saying thank you. I learned something.
Good, good, good.
Great job, man. Honestly, great job.
Thank you.
Ended. Okay,
Oh,
guys.
what did we do on time? What was the final time?
Final time. 2 minutes left, man.
Ooh,
Yeah. Super on point, dude. You estimated perfectly.
good, good.
I also linked the Google Doc to the actual video I was streaming. So
Okay.
people open it up and see it. And man, you did. I'm putting everybody in for a war, but especially, man, you did great, dude.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have Lady J at 11. She wants to stream through Facebook because she's using OBS. Then we have Anasina at 12. What else do we have?
Here's the 25
Nice.
bonus swords I was talking about. And all these are made by amateurs, and all of them end up having the exact same looking pommel. And they would all pass professionals,
'Cause
champions.
I'm one of those people that like I have to reload my pommel like every 2 months because I crush it. Just like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, you definitely need to go with this method then.
Because what I ended up buying a couple 3D printed cones from what used to be Warlord Sports. I think it's called Optimal Sports now.
Yep.
And I haven't broken those yet. So that's pretty nice. Because I'll squeeze super hard because I overhand swing.
Yeah, I would say this is the method to use before a professional, because even a standard pommel like this, I can pommel fight with it, and I have one that's just starting to go, and it's been like well over like almost a year of heavy use.
What do you use for the handle itself? Because I use tennis grip tape for the actual handle piece. Because it's a bit padded and it seems to hold the core a little bit better, at least for me, because I have big hands.
All right, I guess we'll jump over for Lady J's class.
Let me close that.